All right, that's why they call them rivalries. They're not always as scripted. So Alabama, a solid 15 or 16-point favorite against Tennessee, skates by with a drive in the final 4 minutes to get by the Vols, 19-14. Mark Rogers TV joining you, along with Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama, to break down the Tide's game against the Vols. So Stephen M., of course, thanks so much for joining us. I guess on one hand, Alabama fans could be concerned that the offense didn't produce much. The Tennessee defense looked really good. Also, that basically you were playing a team that's now lost 4 games and barely got by, and Tennessee's 3 missed field goals certainly helped out. At the same time, you can't go through a team in America, even the elite teams, that don't have some difficult games against some fairly marginal opponents. And when this team needed a drive with 4 minutes left to play, they put it together.
I'm not talking this on behalf of this Alabama team, especially whom passing completion-wise all season. Jacob Coker completed 77.8%, which was 21 of 27, despite tossing his 7th interception of the year. When Coker needed a big drive, when Alabama needed a big drive from Coker, he got it done, was able to target Calvin Ridley, Darius Stewart, and even O.J. Howard, Mr. Juice Man himself, caught 7 passes for 55 yards for the Crimson Tide. On defense, Alabama could have had 4 turnovers, had 4 interceptions that should have been picked off. Reuben Foster, Ronnie Harrison, and Minka Fitzpatrick, those 3 in particular, had the ball in their hand and kind of thinking about the return more so than securing the interception completely. Joshua Dobbs dodged some bullets there, but Tennessee, a great job running the football. I felt like the Vols, despite having some freshmen start on that offensive line, really secured the edge in the run game. Jalen Hurd and Joshua Dobbs broke off some pretty good runs there. Alvin Kamara had a pretty solid game himself, but this is what happens, Mark, when you play 4 to 5 tough games at a time without a bye week. Alabama played Georgia, Arkansas, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, all of these at a continuous pace without a bye week in there. When you have that tough, rigorous of a schedule with Georgia and Arkansas being your traditional ground and pound teams, you have Texas A&M, a team that likes to spread you out offensively and defensively, rush the passer. Even Ole Miss, a team that doesn't have a consistent run game but loves to spread you out. And Chad Kelly, the year that he's having, when you don't get a bye week in there, you have players that struggle with fatigue. Derrick Henry, a couple of times, looked gassed against Tennessee. Alabama had some injuries. Ronnie Harrison and Dominic Jackson, both with sprained ankles. Eddie Jack, Cam Robinson, who's been playing through pain all season. Ryan Kelly, who had a light concussion in the game, did start. But this team did have a little bit of weariness and going through some and job, Coke's ability to put a final scoring drive together and a much needed break coming up for the Crimson Tide to kind of rest, recharge, and recuperate, because it's going to be a primetime matchup the week following with LSU.
Yeah, definitely. As you allude to, it's a schedule that I ranked as the #1 schedule in the country going into the season. And when you can space out the big games, that's one thing. But when you have to face 5 capable opponents in a row, you're going to have some close calls. And they made it through the stretch, aside from the Ole Miss game, unscathed and still in position to win the division championship with a little bit of help. So Derrick Henry, once they got into the red zone, if we look at that final drive that produced the touchdown and Henry finished it off going to the left side on that play, they went to Derrick Henry, the Calvin Ridley play that he delivered on 3rd and long on the left sideline against Cam Sutton. That was huge. And then Derrick Henry seemed to be the go-to guy in the red zone.
Derrick Henry finally has his 1,000-yard season that he's been waiting to have since he's been at Alabama coming in 2013. And the formula for Alabama, Derrick Henry touches that ball at least 25 times, you have a good chance to win. And he was able to touch the ball, I want to say, around 25 to 28 times, close to 30 for about 148 yards and 2 touchdowns. Does a great job holding the ball high and tight. But I want to go back to our Darius Stewart for just a moment. Before the season started, it was he and Robert Foster, 2 redshirt sophomore receivers that had started to emerge, not just in spring ball, but also in summer practice and in fall camp. And Robert Foster, this fan base and coaching staff really believed that he would be the dynamic receiver. He tore his right rotator cuff against Ole Miss in that 43. And people look to our Darius Stewart to kind of fill the void and come up a little bit higher after the Foster injury. And our Darius Stewart, though he's very talented, 6'1", 204 pounds, he tends to push and he tends to press a little too much and wanting, instead of just taking what's given and taking what's there and just showing some patience. Against Tennessee on Saturday, you really saw the patience of our letting the game come to him. He got in a rhythm, caught 6 passes for 114 yards, and of those 6 passes, 3 of them, fantastic job adjusting to the football, meeting the ball at its highest points, holding the ball as he's going to forward. So I was impressed with patience, letting the ball come to him. And even on a couple of throws where Coker slightly had the ball underthrown, our Darius Stewart not afraid to reach up, adjust to the football, contort his body, bring the ball in, and really bail out Coker on a couple of those passes.
So, Stephen, and we've got a bye week, then we've got LSU coming to Tuscaloosa for another huge, huge showdown. So the Tigers have been a bit down for their standard over the past couple of years, but should come into this game as an undefeated football team. Your thoughts about what you would like to see the Tide improve on from the Tennessee game and what we've seen for the last 4 or 5 weeks to take on the LSU Tigers?
Got to be more secure in tackling. A lot of missed tackles against Tennessee on Saturday, and some even coming from Reggie Ragland, a guy that you don't see missing out tackles. He tracks the ball well from sideline to sideline, great speed, and leadership playing at inside linebackers. So secure tackling is something that I want to see. And also, when it's make plays, especially fully secure at full and just in return for you secure the football really hurt in that turnover battle for the Crimson Tide. It has to secure the make the interception before it starts thinking about after the catch or run after the catch. So more secure to create those turnovers against LSU. Tackling minute 4 next. Go at it with one guy. You got to stand, but you try to go for minute 4 next is when he runs you over, trucks you over, and just keeps those styles moving up and down the field. And
Fournette and Henry going at it. It's a duel that, unlike anything we'll see in the regular season of possibly the 2 best running backs in college football. LSU, Alabama coming up in 2 weeks. The Tide gets to rest before the big showdown in Tuscaloosa. Stephen M. Smith from Touchdown Alabama. Please join him there for plenty of content concerning the SEC and the Crimson Tide in particular. Stephen M., it's always a pleasure. Sure.
No problem, Mark. I appreciate joining you on this awesome Sunday afternoon.